What is up, guys? This is Xander Bennett of the Rare Candy here, doing my first testing grounds with my friend Nick Brassel. He will not be commentating, I will be commentating this, but doing two decks from Forbidden Light. I'm really excited for both of these decks. I think that they both offer some really cool strategies. I am going to be playing the Golisopod Greninja GX deck that has been seen doing decently well in Japan, and Nick is going to be playing Naganadel Buzzwole, a deck that seems to be a big powerhouse and favorite of American players. So this match was a few days ago, so I don't exactly remember everything that happened, so this is going to be a nice little rewind for me as it is for you guys. But Nick goes first, benches a Piopole, and I believe that's the basic for Naganadel, and attaches a Fighting to his Buzzwole, and benches another baby Naganadel, we'll call it that for now. But he's just trying to set up his deck, get a bunch of Ultra Beasts into play so that he can be doing more damage with Naganadel's first attack. And we see him Sycamore and draw 7 cards, looks at his hand, plays a Ultra Space and uses it. This allows him to search his deck for any Ultra Beast Pokemon and put it into his hand. He's looking at his hand right now, deciding what he wants to get. And he's looking at a Kartana right now. We played a few games before this, so he knows that all that I play is special energy, so getting a Kartana means that he limits my ability to attach an energy on the first turn, which is really good. He gets a Kartana, puts it in his hand, and then passes. So I open Raw Bridget. I actually do that a few more times in this night than I'd like to admit. I feel like I got pretty lucky. And I go ahead and use Bridget to get down 2 Impods and a Froakie. Just trying to set up my board. Starting with Tapu Koko, it'll be a Sacrificial Lamb that I will just have to let die. But I actually have the Mewtwo that I debate retreating into. And yes, we'll see. And Tapu Koko seems to stay active. Alright, so letting Tapu Koko get knocked out here. Oh, the discussion that we were having is I thought about setting up Mewtwo, but then I realized that he could just get his Naganadel active and hit me for weakness and kill it. So, much rather have this Buzzwole active than this Naganadel. And he used Ultra Space to search for a Buzzwole GX. The Golisopod Greninja list does not play Field Blower. It's just one of the cards that the deck cannot fit with how much stuff it's trying to play. So, this Ultra Beast is going to stick for the whole match, and it's going to really allow him to set up. We see a Guzma, though, knocking out the Froakie, because I only have one of them on the board, just getting that out of the way. And I send up Tapu Koko and attach the unit energy that provides grass and play end. So both players shoveling their hand in, drawing. I'll be drawing 6 cards, he'll be drawing 5 cards from his aggressive knockout. And yeah, we'll see what I get off of this. There's 6 cards for me. I definitely saw an Ultra Ball in there, so that's probably going to be going for a Greninja GX as well as a Cynthia. So Ultra Ball discarding 2 cards and getting a Golisopod GX so that I may retreat and use First Impression for 120. We play pretty quick, but glad that I'm able to keep up. Nick draws, and I believe that he drew a Beast Ring for his turn, but it's a card that he's not really going to need right now. Benches another Piopole. In the meantime, I did actually look up to see that, or Poipole. I looked it up. It'll be a struggle to pronounce either way, but benches another one of those, uses Ultra Space to search for a Kartana and benches it using the Slice Off ability to discard a special energy attached to one of my Pokemon, and that discards the only special energy that I have in play and my only energy. Attachment onto the Buzzwole, and then a Beast Raid, I believe is the name, for 150 damage because of the full board and the choice. I hit a Float Stone and a unit energy off of my last hand and a Cynthia, so my last hand was really good. Being able to have a draw support or a way to get a Golisopod and another Golisopod at the ready. Don't know why he put the deck box in the cam, but Cynthia drawing 6 cards, looking to hit a Golisopod here. My friend Nate Upton is also there with us because we were getting ready to go to a League Cup the next day, and he's messing with us during the video. So if you see a random hand in the video, I apologize. But there is the Golisopod GX using First Impression, and this will enable Beast Energy or Beast Ring to get energies into play. There's so much Beast stuff going on with this deck. So there's a slight mishap here, but so Nick last turn meant to attach. He forgot that Beast Ring does not attach to any of your Pokemon in your play. It attaches to only one. So this is me looking up to make sure that the translation is right, and it is indeed that it searches to one Pokemon. So what we do to fix the mistake, just to make it the most accurate representation of gameplay, is that we pretend that the turn before he attached to the benched Buzzwole, so that he can still power up this Buzzwole in one turn, which is what he meant to do. That way he... Yeah, so there we go. We're searching for the energy. We had this all rectified. This is the one thing that I did remember, so I could make sure to explain what was going on. But like Eric always says, and I will definitely repeat his sentiments there, this is normally one of the first times we've played these decks, so misplays will happen, but we're just trying to get some content out to you guys really quickly. And there's an Absorption GX. Don't have GX markers, and that's my personal fault. I was not really thinking about it. But now Nick's board looks great. He has a Buzzwole that's powered up, but I have a Mewtwo at the ready to take 2 prizes, and we're going for a mid-game Bridget here just to get some Froakies down, as well as another Wimpod, which will allow me to possibly Acerola this Golisopod GX that I have. The glare is a little bit weird in that spot, but yes, that is 2 Froakies and a Wimpod. And I'm going to be going down to 2 prizes this turn, knocking out this Buzzwole that he just synced all his energy to, and he will be able to knock it out with the Naganadel, but putting myself at 2 prizes is a big game. Now, Nick has 3 prizes left, so after this turn, if he hits a Fighting Energy, we'll be at 2 and 2. He benches the Dawn Wings Necrozma and is using Ultra Space, searching his deck to get another Ultra Beast, getting a Naganadel, putting it into play, and looking at his hand, I see a Guzma, but I don't see much else that would be super... Oh, no, there's an N. So he's going to be playing the N most likely, drawing to... Yep. He's going to be drawing to 3 cards. I'm going to be drawing to 2. Really looking to hit a Fighting Energy off of this N so that he can knock out this Mewtwo, because if he doesn't, this Mewtwo is going to be hitting into this Naganadel for 100 damage, even if he doesn't have any energy attached to it. And didn't see anything in his hand yet, but it might just... Okay, no, he's using Invasion on Dawn Wings Necrozma to make it active. I have a Frogadier deciding where I want to put the damage. I put the 20 onto the Kartana, so I can maybe knock it out with a Choice Band First Impression. And off of that, N to 2, I hit a Cynthia. So again, a little bit lucky. The deck has no secondary draw power, but it does have 10 draw supporters to keep it going. So glad that I hit one there. I could be using First Impression this turn if I hit a way to, or if I hit a energy as a whole, but don't really want to be putting that Golisopod into the active. If he has a Guzma and an energy somewhere, it will be game. But looking at my hand, I see a double colorless and another Ultra Ball. So I am Ultra Balling, discarding the non-GX Greninja, a tech that I really like in this list, and I have an Acerola in my hand and the double colorless. Decided to throw away the double colorless because the Acerola will allow me to pick up the Golisopod GX so that I do not take, or so that he doesn't have a game-winning knockout available really easily on the board. And then at this point, I just use Psychic for 50. It does soften up this Dawn Wings Necrozma so that it could be knocked out with some other attacks plus frog damage, I guess. It's not bat damage. He does use Ultra Space to search for the second Kartana and use Slice Off, discarding the double colorless, limiting my ways to get this Mewtwo out of the active. So in order to get it out of the active, I will have to have a Guzma. And there's a Cynthia, drawing 6 cards. He does hit the Fighting Energy there, so he can knock out this Mewtwo. He also had a Beast Ring in his hand, but I am at 2 prizes, so it's a little bit too late for him to use that Beast Ring. And there is the Beast Raid knocking out the Mewtwo. So looking at my hand, I have a Rainbow Energy, and I believe there's a Cynthia on the back of my hand, so just deciding what I want to do with this hand before I get started. I attach the Rainbow, and I believe that I put 10 damage on there eventually. And yep, okay, yeah, there is a 1 on it. So Acerola picking up the other Golisopod so that it can not be Guzma to knocked out. And here's a First Impression for 120. So now if I have a Guzma or something, I also have game. Or I have game, he no longer has game. Looking at his hand, he has a Tapu Lele, but no way to bench it. There's an Ultra Ball, discarding a Ultra Space and a Beast Ring. At this point, just thinning out cards from his deck. Doesn't really need anything. And then there's a Cynthia from Nick. So Nick is again looking for an energy. He does not have any Acerolas in his deck to heal this Naganadel, so if I have a way to knock it out, then I end up having game. But we'll see what Nick gets. And no, he did not find an energy, so that is simply a Beast Raid for 120. And there's an Ultra Ball. Looking through my hand, if I have a Tapu Lele for an Acerola, I do end up having game. So there's a Lele. I don't know what I could be waiting on. Just checking to make sure that I have game. And why am I struggling so hard? If I knock out this Pokemon, I win the game. So, so I decide to get... I must have been out of Acerolas at this point because I decided to get a Frogadier to put 20 damage onto a Pokemon and then Sycamore. So, yep, okay. But the double colorless does mean that I can use Crossing Cut GX and win the game, taking my last 2 prizes, and that puts me up the first game over Nick in this best of 3. So, fast forward to game 2 due to the magical editing skills of Eric. Nothing really crazy that game needs to be changed. I guess Nick is looking to hit maybe 1 or 2 more Beast Rings on the turns that he has 3 to 4 I have 3 to 4 prizes left, and hopefully be able to dodge or have an answer ready for the Mewtwo as soon as it comes out. It was pretty unfortunate for him that as soon as he Beast Ring that I had the knockout on his Buzzwole. Myself, I guess I'm just looking to keep doing what I was doing. Didn't really have any struggles that game. And I start with Wimpod, he starts with double Buzzwole. And here's the game. So Nick lost the first game, so he draws to start his turn, fixes the Buzzwole in the sleeve, and then looking at his hand, I see a Float Stone, a Fighting Energy, puts the float on the active, he has an N, and he's playing it. So ends away my turn 1 Bridget craziness hand, which is probably a good thing, and we'll see what happens from here with both players drawing 6 cards. Nick just looking to hit an Ultra Space so that he can start getting some Pokemon in play. And I believe that this is the game that he misses the turn 1 Poipole, putting it down onto the board. There's a Dawnwing's Necrozma, knowing that I'm not playing Zoroark, lives in no fear. And okay, so I attach a choice. I was trying to figure out what I was doing. I attach Choice Band to the active, a Floatstone to the bench, Froakie, and then Cynthia. Seems a little bit weird to attach the Floatstone to the Froakie, even though it has the ability that gives itself free retreat, but I'm worried about Kartana GX, so I want to have ways to retreat if I need it at the ready. And I know that Nick also does not play Field Blower. There's no real abilities that I get scared of, and I get really lucky and I draw into a second Wimpod and another Froakie, so I bet I get to play a Bridget without actually playing a Bridget. And Nick looks at his hand. He sees that he has a Cynthia, a Fighting Energy, another Choice Band, or no, a Choice Band. I had the first Choice Band. And uses Cynthia to shuffle his hand into his deck and draw 6 cards. Not looking to attach that Fighting Energy, because if he hits a Strong Energy, he knocks out the Froakie with Jet Punch and is going to be able to put 30 damage onto another Pokemon. We'll see if he hits it, and yes, he does. So there's the Strong Energy going on to the Buzzwole GX, and I wonder if he hit a Poipole this turn. Nope. He takes a Strong Energy back to his hand, but he's going to put it back down. Oh no, he's debating about whether or not he wants to attach to the active. The reason for this is because he didn't want to be as soft to a Mewtwo, but as well... Nope. Okay, we talked about this play for a little while. I think he decides about putting it onto the benched Buzzwole so that it can Absorption next turn, because it's not going to get knocked out, even if I do have the Mewtwo ready. But he does put the energy down to the benched and retreats to the Buzzwole, knocking out the Froakie and putting 30 onto the other one. As well as benching a Poipole, so he's got a good game started. Rainbow Energy puts the Wimpod to 40, and looking to play a Cynthia. So Cynthia drawing myself 6 cards. The game's not really looking too great for me, because even if I do get a first impression, it's only going to be doing 60 damage, while he is going to be using Absorption GX to take a really big knockout on a Golisopod if I evolve into it. But we'll see what I'm doing here. Drawing 6 cards off of a Cynthia. I do evolve into double Golisopod GX, and I have a timer ball at the ready. So first flip and second flip. Couldn't really tell what those were from this camera. Probably double tails if I did not search for anything. And there's a first impression for 60. Yep. So attached to the active, this is most likely going to be an absorption here. Attaching a floatstone to the Dawn Wings Necrozma, and then an N. Before the N, he does search his deck though for Ultra Space, just to thin a card out of the deck. There's no reason not to do that beforehand. Just again, the sequencing is something new about learning the decks that we've never played before. So here's N, drawing 6 cards. Obviously, he does have a Beast Ring, though, so if I'm able to get to 4 prizes for next turn, he will be able to immediately power up another Buzzwole GX. And there he goes, swatting his hand out, Absorption GX, knocking out my Golisopod, and leaving me a little bit on the back foot. So he's already down to 3 prizes remaining. And I send up the Froakie, because I have an Acerola in my hand, I remember, that I am able to reuse, I'm able to bring back that Pokemon to my hand. Or I believe I'm going to get the Acerola. Okay, so I discard the Golisopod GX, and I'm probably going to get the Tapu Lele for Acerola so that I can get my Golisopod GX into the active this turn. Searching through, though. Nope, there's a Wimpod, so maybe the Acerola's in my hand, or I'm just forgetting the part of this match, but okay, nope, I had the Lele already. I was not forgetting. So Tapu Lele for an N. Man, I played so many games this night that I am just mixing them all up. So DCE onto the Tapu Lele. And then Nning him down to 3 cards, keeping myself at 6. This Buzzwole will be taking 100 from the Tapu Lele if I do hit a Floatstone, of which one of them is already gone. So we'll see what happens here. Nick's still shuffling up, being very diligent even whenever the camera is in fast reel. But he draws his 3 cards, and I believe that I was talking about something with the game. I draw my 6, and I do not see a Floatstone in there, so I just pass. And then Nick's looking at his hand. He does have a Guzma, so he could knock out the Tapu Lele GX if he wanted to, or he... Okay, no, yep, so he's going to bring up the Tapu Lele GX and then use Knuckle Impact for the knockout. I don't necessarily know why he didn't want to go for the Golisopod GX, but Tapu Lele does put him down at 1 prize. And I believe that at that point I just concede. I'm just way too far behind. The Mewtwo was prized, which I point out. But at that point I don't even think it would have mattered, just with how he only had 1 prize left. So that's game 2. And again, the magical editing skills of Eric will push us into game 3 after some shuffling. So match did not work out super well for me, even though I did get a really nice opening hand after the first few supporters being able to get out so many basics. He was just able to pull really far ahead just with 1 aggro Buzzwole that I wasn't able to deal with. So it's just the power of Buzzwole GX. I don't even think there's much from Naganadel or Beast Ring that helped that out. It's just Buzzwole GX is still a really strong card, and it's going to be a large part of Standard for its time here. So this is game 3. I will be going first. It's the first time that I've had that opportunity in this match. Starting with a Wimpod, he starts with a triple Pokemon, but I think he decides to return the Baby Buzzwole to his hand. This is not the matchup that card is good, and yeah, he returns it to his hand. There's Tapu Lele, giving me the opportunity to bridge it if I want to. There's no reason for me not to go for it here. And yes, Tapu Lele for Bridget, being able to search my deck for 3 basic Pokemon, put them onto my bench. Looks like I'll be getting a sweep of Pokemon, 1 Wimpod, 1 Froakie, and 1 Tapu Koko to be able to retreat into, so I can go back into a Golisopod GX on my next turn. Him starting with a Poipole also makes it really nice for me not having to worry about getting knocked out by a Buzzwole really fast. There's an Ultra Ball for a Buzzwole GX and a N. So both players shuffling their hand into their deck, again drawing 6 cards. If he could get a Floatstone and energy, that'd be really nice. But unless he hits the Beast energy, he does not have a way to knock out this Tapu Koko in 1 turn. Luckily enough for myself. So drawing his 6 cards. He does hit a fighting. Do not... Oh, and a strong, but I do not see... Oh, the Flowstone was the last card, so he does have a way to put on some pressure this turn if he decides that that is what he wants to do. And that looks to be his play. So retreating the Poiple and using Jet Punch, 60 and 30 onto one of the Froakies, because they have 50 HP. So if I don't have a way to evolve it, which I just revealed, then I get to... I don't even really know what I was saying anymore, but we'll just go past it. There's a double colorless onto the Tapu Koko, deciding to leave it active while it's going to get knocked out, because if I put it onto the bench, he will just knock it out with Jet Punch. So there's no reason for me not to use Flying Flip here when I have the double colorless energy. Also, bringing down the Naganadels from 210 to 190 is a big game for a deck that relies on extra damage. So there's a Timer Ball, and I flip, and we'll see how many Pokemon I search out here. There's one, and I believe this is, I'm still looking, yep, it's double head. So that is a Greninja, and Nick is messing with me because he believes that I am cheating, but I'm not. I'm sorry, Nick. Getting my 2 Pokemon out, and then there's a Flying Flip, putting 20 on everything. So he draws for turn. Going to be getting a knockout on this Tapu Koko eventually, but continue playing through his turn. He has the Ultra Space, searching through his deck. Most likely going to be getting a Naganadel here, and he does, which he evolves one of his Pokemon with. Has a Ultra Ball and a Strong Energy in his hand. Did not see a supporter yet, so he might have to get a Tapu Lele off of this. Yeah, he's fiddling with the Ultra Ball. Strong Energy first. Don't exactly remember what he's shuffling his deck for, probably because he forgot to shuffle it off of Ultra Space. Thinking he might have been going back in the deck. But, yeah, okay, so he had the Ultra Ball, was deciding if he wanted to Guzma or if he wanted to use Tapu Lele for a supporter. And there is a Jet Punch knocking out both the Froakie and the Tapu Koko. I send up the Frogadier and attach a Floatstone to it and a Rainbow to my Golisopod GX. So I will be able to use First Impression, and an Ultra Ball searches my deck for any Pokemon it puts into my hand. I'm going to get a Golisopod GX, put the damage onto the active, so this Golisopod will be able to knock out the Buzzwole GX this turn with First Impression, and there's a Sycamore. Benching a Froakie from my hand, and looking to see what else is in there. I saw a Greninja or a Frogadier. The scans make it a little bit hard to tell, but there's a First Impression knocking that Pokemon out. Sends up his Naganadel and starts his turn. So Beast Ring allows him to immediately power up a Buzzwole GX. I believe that's the first one of these that we, or no, it's the second one that we've seen. But the card is just so strong, swinging the game as soon as it's played. Yeah, now I'll just be knocked out by the Knuckle Impact that we'll be seeing here. Knuckle Impact or Absorption. Not entirely sure which one he uses. That's my fault for not having the GX markers. There's Ultra Space for a Dawnwing's Necrozma. Nope, decides to change his mind. Looking at his hand again, decides to get a Kartana GX. Don't necessarily know if he wants to get the Kartana for this turn, or if he has a draw supporter. I thought he had an Ultra Ball, though. So maybe he's just stockpiling it because he knows he has to knock out on this Pokemon. And there's the Absorption GX. I immediately have the Mewtwo ready. So the Mewtwo, if I can hit a Choice Band... Yep, never mind. This will be the knockout on the Buzzwole GX. We'll both have 2 prizes left. Putting the 20 damage onto the Naganadel that already had 20 on it, so it has 170. And I might be able to do something about this. There's nothing on my board that Nick can knock out this turn except the Mewtwo, so I will have at least one more turn to try and pull something out. He looks at his hand. He has the Beast Energy, which we haven't seen yet. Puts it onto the benched Naganadel. Reveals his double Kartana hand and his Beast Ring that he cannot use right now because I've already achieved that point. Benches both, but he'll only be able to discard 1 energy. Benches the other one just so he can get the extra damage. And there's an Ultra Ball for a Tapu Lele. Searching for a end to put myself at 2 cards. I guess he's deciding whether or not it's smart for him to bench both Kartana GXs. He decides to because he's going to want the damage ready for the following turns. Oh no, he needs the 4th Ultra Beast so that he can knock out the Mewtwo having 130 HP, and the Tapu Lele not being an Ultra Beast, so he'll need that extra damage to knock it out. Oh wait, never mind, Beast Ring would cover that. So I guess he just realizes for other turns that he would rather have that Pokemon down and not draw it. Either way, he puts us both down to 2 cards, and there is a Beast Raid. Alright, so we're timer balling, we're searching, getting at least 1 heads, because I'm searching through my deck. One thing I could do here is if I evolve into a Greninja GX, he is most likely not able to knock anything out on my board this turn, because he has no out to Beast Ring, and since everything's a GX Pokemon, he will not be able to take his final prize during this last turn. But Greninja GX, putting 30 onto the Kartana, and then I have another end. So my opponent's going to go to 1, I'm going to go to 2, and digging for an energy here. We have 7 outs to Grass Energy in our list, so we'll be looking for one of those. And I cut his deck. We agreed not to cut, but we're just playing. Sometimes we forget. It's an impulse. So I don't hit the Grass Energy, but I hit a double colorless energy to do 60 damage to this Naganadel. He will not have the knockout though on it because he had to bench the Tapu Lele instead of a Ultra Beast. Using Ultra Space here, searching through his deck, getting the Dawnwing's Necrozma. Nope, getting a Poipole. Just ready so that he can alternate Naganadels if he needs to. And then he uses Beast Raid and passes. I guess we're just talking about what the attacks on the Poipole are, which they're both kind of cool. The first one just for colorless, it poisons them, and the second one for Psychic colorless, if they knock it out, your opponent does not take a prize during the next turn, which is pretty neat. It seems like a fun deck eventually, but not for this, where the only out to play Psychic energy you have is Beast Energy. But I hit a Cynthia, so I'm able to draw 6 cards. If I can hit a Grass Energy, I believe that is a knockout. Oh no, it has 60 on it. So if I hit a Choice Band, it's knockout. Nope, but I'm just using First Impression for 120 damage. This Pokemon still has 30 left on it, and Nick rips the Sycamore off the top of his deck. Couldn't throw his hand down any faster. He's gonna need to attack with another Naganadel so that he does not get knocked out by this Golisopod. Attaches to the bench one with 40 on it. Oh, I just tell him to search for a Naganadel and attack with the other one, which is just completely correct. Gets out the Naganadel, and he's going to be attacking with that one, using Beast Raid for 120. Don't exactly remember what we're talking. Don't exactly remember what we're talking about here. I think we're talking about which one is better for him to attack with. I believe that what we were talking about here is that if he attacks with this, this specific Naganadel, that I could not have Guzma for game because it would be active. So maybe the damage on there is not exactly as I thought it was. Either way, here is a the second attack on Naganadel, because of the Beast Energy does provide the Psychic needed to use the flat 110 damage attack. Actually doing 10 more than Beast Raid because the Tapu Lele GX is not an Ultra Beast. And I have a Sycamore, so if I hit a double colorless energy, that'll be game. And looking at my hand, I see one, and that will be the match, going to Golisopod GX Greninja. This set was really fun. I thank Nick for recording it with me. Overall, I am really excited about both these decks. I have done deck techs for both of them, so be sure to be looking out for those on the channel. And I really appreciate you taking your time to come watch this match. So make sure to check us out on Twitter, YouTube, more Facebook, and Instagram, as well as the Patreon, which I've written an article about Greninja GX for, so you should definitely go check that out. And this is Xander Bennett signing out.